That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices has brought. Here he wrote, the day of freedom came only because of the sacrifices of thousands of people of his country. He felt pain because he couldn't pay his thanks to all the patriot who has gone before him. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Thambos, the Walter Sislers, the Chief Littles, the Yusuf Dadus, the Brown Fishers, the Robert Subukovs of our time. Men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, generosity that their like may never be known again. Perhaps it requires such a depth of operations to create such height of character. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamond. Here, he talks about the policy of apartheid. He says the policy of apartheid created a deep wound to his country and the people living there. But due to the oppression and brutality had given some patriots having extraordinary courage, wisdom and kindness like Oliver Thambos, Walter Susslers, the Chief Littlest, the Yusuf Dados and the Brown Fishers, the Robert Sobukovs. Dear students, note one thing. We do not use the article before the names of the person, but here it is used before the names. It means many men of their type or kind, whose names may not be as well known to the people. He further wrote that there is no scarcity of gems in his country, but his most precious stones are his own people. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attack and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who do not or does not feel afraid, but he who conquers the fear. Here, resilience means the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effect. Here, he said that he has learned the absence of fear is not courage, rather, the triumph over it. He learned it from these freedom fighters. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Even in the grimmest time in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. According to him, if people are learned to hate others, they can be learned to love others. also. At the time when he and his comrades were in prison, he saw a glimpse of humanity in one of the guards, and that was enough for helped him to continue his struggle. He compared goodness with the flame hidden in our heart that can't be extinguished, means blow out. In life, every man has twin obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people, his community, his country. Here, he says every individual have or has two obligations, one for his family and another for his country and community. In a civil and humane society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclination and abilities. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both of these obligations. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. In South Africa, a man who tries to fulfill his duty to his people and inevitably tried to fulfill his duty to his people ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, a brother, a father, and as a husband. He says, each man fulfill these obligations according to his own inclination, means natural behavior. He says, he says each man fulfills their obligation according to his own behavior and ability. He further says, before independence in South Africa, a man of color who tried to live a life like human being, he would be punished and isolated. He was forced to live an isolated life if he tries to fulfill his duties toward his family or nation. When he started serving his nation, he was prevented from fulfilling his obligation toward his family as a son, as a brother, as a father, or as a husband. I was not born with the hunger to be free. I was born free, free in every way that I could know. Free to run in the field near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast measle under the star and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. Here, he further wrote in his biography that he was born to be free, to live in his mother's hut. He was born free to swim in the clear stream that ran through his village. Here, meals means corn. He was free to roast corn under the stars and ride to the broad backs of the slow moving bulls. He said, as long as he followed the customs of his tribe, he was not troubled by the rules of men or God. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, when I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. As first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased, and go wherever I chose. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedom of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family. the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. When he became young, he found that he was not free. As a student, he wanted to be free for himself to stay out for a night. Later, he wanted freedom of earning, of marrying. He wanted a obstruction free life. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. That is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. It was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self respect that animated my life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one, that drove a law abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a life loving man to live like a monk. I am no more virtuous or self sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. Freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. Here he says he slowly came to know that he and his siblings, his community, all are not free. Then he joined African National Congress to make his people free. Due to this decision, his whole personality became changed. He had to leave his family for the freedom of his community. He felt the chain around his neck. Now he started his new role as a freedom fighter. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow mindedness. I am not truly free if I am talking taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. Here, he knew the value of freedom, so that he says that oppressed or oppressor, oppressed and oppressor, both are not free. Both of them alike, they are robbed of their humanity. Here, prejudice means a strong dislike without any reason. Okay, that's all for the day.